This week at the Democratic National Convention, Vice President Kamala Harris will formally accept her party's nomination for president. The fact that her historic candidacy will be officially launched in Chicago has a special significance, as Robert Costa reports.
Chicago. Perhaps no city has been more connected with the Democratic Party. And this week, Chicago will host its 12th Democratic Convention, nominating Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz. To talk about the new ticket and this old-school city,
well, I'm Irish, so corned beef sandwich.
We naturally had lunch with a Daly.
What kind of case do you think she needs to make to win this November? What does she actually need to do?
I think she has to lay out a vision. She has to show who she is as a person and kind of what she believes. Not so much the litany of specific positions on issues, but sort of a sense of who she is and what does she believe in.
Bill Daley, who has spent his life in Democratic politics, met us at Manny's Deli, a spot beloved by Chicago's workers and its politicians. The memory of Daley's father, the late Mayor Richard J. Daly, still looms large in Chicago. In 1968, at the height of the Vietnam War, the city hosted the Democratic Convention. That year, like this year, the incumbent exited the race.
I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
And that year, like this year, violence marred the campaign.
On to Chicago and let's win there.
At the turbulent convention that August, Bill Daley was at his father's side.
What was it like, though, to be inside the cauldron when it's boiling over?
It was crazy.
Outside the convention hall, there were bloody confrontations between police and anti-war protesters, putting Mayor Daly in the spotlight.
You ever have any regrets years later about how that all played out in '68?
If he did, he didn't express them. Look at it, he didn't like it. He didn't like what happened. You know, he didn't like the rap to Chicago. But you know what? He didn't look back.
This week, there are planned protests of the Biden-Harris administration's handling of Israel's war with Hamas.
This city seems to have been bracing for protests. What do you expect on the streets?
There'll be protests. There'll be a lot of protesters. I don't think they'll be out of hand. You know, it's not the 60s.
The convention's key speaker on Monday night is President Biden.
How are Democrats going to handle that, showing some respect for him, but also recognizing it's still the Harris convention?
I think there's going to be enormous emotional reaction to the president's being there. I think that place will be rocking.
Harris will accept the nomination on Thursday, setting the stage for a showdown with former President Donald Trump.
All of a sudden, the cards have all been reshuffled, where he's the older guy and she's the young, new generation. And that's a pretty powerful message, too, just that alone.
Many Democrats hope this crossroads will have echoes of another Chicago gathering, when in 2008, Barack Obama became the first Black American to win the White House, where Bill Daley later served as his chief of staff.
It's been a long time coming, but tonight, because of what we did on this day, in this election, at this defining moment, change has come to America.
He was totally different from anybody who had ever run for president. Everything about his candidacy was change. He just exuded change, difference.
We love our country.
For Harris, there might be a balancing act. She is at once new to many Americans, but already in power.
But she is an incumbent vice president.
Yeah, I know, but all due respect to vice presidents, they're really not known by the American people. The job itself kind of dictates you play second fiddle.
Vice President Harris casting herself, it seems like the change candidate. Is that how you see it?
Absolutely. It's just like Barack Obama did.
Look at that artist, Shepard Fairey, who did the Obama Hope painting years ago. He just came out with a new one with Harris, Forward. Just among Democrats, this excitement that...
Absolutely. The thought of the first woman being president is awfully exciting. I have 3 granddaughters. They're incredibly excited.
That excitement, Bill Daley cautions, will soon be tested by the reality of a brutal campaign.
The Electoral College is very difficult for a Democrat. You almost have to pull it inside straight every time.
A lot of Democrats are really giddy right now about the poll numbers. They feel good about Vice President Harris. If you offered a word of caution to them, what would you say?
90 days is a long time. 90 days in politics is a lifetime.